Today, it's the final stop and grand finale of the 2023 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, live from Auckland, New Zealand. The traditional locals call it the area Tamaki Makaro as we cap off one of the most exciting competition seasons ever. Trace Worthington here alongside cliff diving expert Joey Zuber. The King Kahekili Trophy is on the line, Joey, for both the men and the women. A brand new country and location to host the World Series, so hang on to your Speedos, buddy. Should be a good comp today.
Yeah, hang on to your Speedos. I'm wearing two pairs of Speedos just in case.
I have three pair. What a beautiful area, though.
It is. It's going to be another great showdown to round off the season. Look at this great urban setting so the spectators can gather around that whopping tower, 27 meters high, so that's 90 feet up.
Well, the World Series kicked off in Boston, went to France, Italy, and the last stop in Bosnia. Beautiful town of Mostar, and now that brings us to Auckland, New Zealand for the final stop of the 2023 season. The Araki Marae ritual, Kapa Hook dance, involving the emotional and powerful combination of song, dance, and chanting, a part of the rich Maori tradition here and culture, Joey. The athletes were able to participate. What a special moment for them to be involved in their tradition and culture. Well, athletes warming up, and we'll check out the unique platform bringing in the cultural vibe and local lens.
My name is Graham Tipene, studied Maori design and then moving into the tattoo world and have been doing tā moko, traditional Maori tattoo design work, as well as doing big public artworks for the city. Everything we design has a connection to the environment, the region we live in, the direct community we live in, the people who were there, are there, will be there. The inspiration for the artwork we've created is a proverb or whakatauki that we use a lot within my iwi Ngāti Whātua, and that is a connection to the kawau or the shag bird. That is one of our guardian birds for our iwi, for my tribe. And that bird is connected through our carvings in our traditional canoe, through our carvings in our traditional house, and in our stories that we tell and the names of our ancestors within our tribe. The manu head preparing to dive down, and then his wings coming around the back of its body as it's preparing to dive. Aesthetically, it's highly stylized.
Well, it's great to bring that local vibe and local lens to this global event here in Auckland. That is Aidan Heslop looking very serious.
Yeah, he is. He's focused.
To the platform, we have Rhiannan Iffland going for 7 straight consecutive King Kahekili trophies, and her good friend Jonathan Paredes. Beautiful scene right there as they prepare for this final stop in the harbor here in Auckland. Getting closer to the diving action. Of course, Rhiannan Iffland is once again staring down another King Kahekili trophy and could clinch career World Series title number 7. Only one diver stands a chance of putting the brakes on her. That is Molly Carlson of Canada on the right-hand side. And if Rhi gets 7th or better, she wins for the 7th year in a row. Molly needs a big, big victory, and I don't know if that's going to go down today.
No, I don't think so. I think that Rhi is on fire today, that's for sure.
All right. Let's get you up to speed. 4 rounds of diving, 3 have already happened as we look at Eleanor Smart getting warmed up before her 4th round dive. But let's get you up to speed on what went down in the earlier rounds, Joey, with Emily Chinnock.
So how about this? Another rookie, her first ever appearance in the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Just 21 years of age. She only transferred from the discipline of diving to high diving just a year ago. 2nd after round 1, so how good is that to see another wild card, another youngster coming up the ranks? But let's talk about someone oh so experienced. 6 King Kahekili trophies to her name, now with a commanding lead. So the highest scoring dive in round 2, the intermediate round. She's got quite a solid lead ahead of Molly Carlson, 25.8 to be precise, and that is exactly what she wants to do, to keep that King Kahekili trophy in her grasp. But round 3, now it's stepping up the degree of difficulty in the triple half for Molly Carlson. And she was actually in 10th position in round 1, snuck up to 5th position round 2, and now she's climbing her way back up the ranks, but it will be a tall order for her to push ahead of Rhiannan Iffland, no doubt. So that's 3 rounds of diving done, and we've got our 4th and final round to come shortly.
Upwards of 15,000 spectators. Is the first time the World Series has come to this country in the beautiful area of Auckland. If you're new to Red Bull cliff diving, here's how it all works. 8 men and 8 women, they're permanent divers this 2023 season. 4 wildcard divers were invited to each stop, Joey, for a total of 24 athletes.
Okay, folks, it's 4 rounds of diving, each of them being judged, and every single dive counts. It's only 3 seconds to judge a diver's execution, which includes the takeoff from the dive point. Then it's about the position in the air, and of course, you've got to nail that water entry.
Absolutely, and the scoring is pretty straightforward. You have 5 judges. They hold up a score between 0 and 10. The low and high scores are tossed out. The remaining 3 are multiplied by the DD. We call it the degree of difficulty, equaling the total score. So, Joey, the harder to dive with clean form, backed up with a nice water entry, you're going to capture the judge's attention.
That's right. At every World Series stop, 4 total dives make up the final score, and then points are awarded at each stop. Then those points are added together, which go towards the World Series standings. And this season, something a little different. 10 additional overall World Series points will be rewarded for the best dive performed at each tour stop.
And what all the athletes are chasing is the coveted King Kahekili trophy. In the 14 years of the World Series, folks, only 2 women and 4 men have earned the trophy. And today is the final event of the season. Rhiannan Iffland trying to lock in number 7, and a new man's name will join the club with the 4 past World Series winners. Look at that shiny little trophy right there, Joey.
That's what they want.
Yes.
That's what they're aiming for.
And a beautiful day as we are about to get started with round number 4. Now, 3 rounds already in the books, as we mentioned earlier. 1 to go, all 4 added together. You have a great judges panel here, led by Anka Piper of Germany. She's the head judge. Jeff Arbin of Australia is here. Simone Leathead, Olivier Morneau, Ricard of Canada, and Cyril Mechkan of France, stacked with judging expertise and just diving intelligence out there on that boat.
Oh, yes.
Cloudy outside, a little brisk, 25 degrees Celsius, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Everybody wants to know the water temperature, 22 and 72. Not too bad, but Joey, that will tell a lot right there. Who can manage the wind? And when you are that high on that tower, 90 feet for the men, 70 for the women, it's going to be a little bit breezy up there. So it's reverse order. So the lowest score from the first 3 rounds will run first, out of Iris Schmidbauer. Then it goes on down the line. Meili Carpenter of the United States, she will run number 6. And then we get into the top divers with American Eleanor Smart. Maria Paula Quintero, she'll dive 8. Jessica Macaulay in her final event of her career, she'll run 9. Then Carlson Pennisi, and no surprise, leading the way, the top seed coming into the 4th and final round, Rhiannan Iffland of Australia, trying to go for 7 straight King Kahekili trophies.
You can see the win there. And we did see in the previous round that some of the divers were struggling with the wind. Very hard to hold your balance when you're standing on the platform. And let me tell you, it's a lot more windy when you're up there.
One thing to note, it's been 20 weeks that have passed since the last stop in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. So a lot of time off for the athletes. For some, they were able to rest. Maybe they were injured. For some, they were able to increase perhaps their dives and degree of difficulty. We'll see what Iris Schmidbauer of Germany has for this dive. The 28-year-old hit her first World Series podium at the Paris stop, placing 3rd, as the safety divers down below keeping a key eye on things when the divers enter the harbor. First diver, Iris Schmidbauer of Germany.
Talk about a way to impress the crowds. Check this out. 21 meters, 70 feet high, pressing into a handstand. Very difficult dive.
Wow. Oh.
Okay, so put her hand up and she's signaling to the judges, look, there's a fair bit of wind, so she made that hand movement. And so when you come back down from a handstand, we call that a balk. Sometimes you can have a 2-point deduction. Curious to see if the judges will actually take off the 2 points, considering it is very windy.
Caught up with Iris just a couple days ago. Was texted back and forth with her. She was saying, been sick, very sick lately. Had some stomach flu stuff going on. She's lost some weight. Just hasn't been feeling right. She's just pretty psyched to even be starting here in this competition. As Molly Carlson, Canada, keeping warm down there. It is chilly out.
It's very difficult to do these dives. We're in the hardest round at the moment, maximum degree of difficulty, so you need all of that power and strength, and if you're not feeling 100%, it's tough.
She spent a lot of time in New Zealand, in this area, during the pandemic.
Reset again now. Try and press back into that handstand. Nice and slow and steady. Back down again.
She is the only female to choose the arm stand dive in this 4th and final round. So hopefully she can get composed, Joey, because the fans will love it. They're cheering her on.
Yeah.
Nearly 15,000 folks coming out here in Auckland to see the world's best.
Great sign of appreciation from the locals here. They understand that it's tremendously high. I mean, it's easy standing here looking at the platform, but when you're looking down, actually it's the equivalent of an 8-story high-rise. So if you can make your way to the balcony, look down, just gain a sense of perspective. Now it's all about Iris. Got to take a nice deep retake at this dive. Big deep breath, reset and focus.
Auckland, the 98th stop for the men on the World Series since 2009. It's the 50th stop for the women. Schmidbauer now. See what she has. Goes quick on this one. 3 minutes passed since she attempted the first time around. And as you mentioned, Joey, the sign of appreciation. I always like when you say that, because not only from the spectators but fellow competitors, as Molly Carlson knows what it's like when those nerves are running through you. But kicking it off, Iris Schmidbauer drops in.
Yeah, it's a very tight-knit community. All of the athletes understand, they respect one another. They know what it's like to stand on that platform. Iris, I know you're upset, but it's been a bit of a tough road. And as we talked about earlier, when you're sick and you're not feeling your best, it's already hard enough as it is to do this sport. I mean, so much has to go in to this discipline. You have to be in the right frame of mind, physically strong. It takes many, many years of practice to get the skills right. A lot of the athletes will spend time in the gymnastics halls working on the acrobatics and the power. Right here, this is the twist, aerial awareness, making sure that you come out of the twist at the right time. But a bit of an over rotation over means going past that vertical line, and it's a tough impact. I mean, hurtling your way down 70 kilometers per hour, like hitting a brick wall.
Schmidbauer kick things off. 158.70 will be her total score. After the 4 rounds of diving. So that 33.60 you see in the yellow, that's the last round dive. And then it rolls up all 4 together, 158.70. Hope you're feeling better, Schmitty, as we go back to the top. 21 meters, 70 feet above the harbor. Simone Leathead, making her 4th ever appearance on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, the junior world high diving champion, 13 national championship medals in diving. That's a mix of springboard And high diving, and not bad for Simone Leathead, the 20-year-old, again in her 4th ever appearance on the World Series.
That is awesome to see Simone diving like that. She struggled a little bit in the previous rounds. And when you're a rookie, it takes some flight time to dial it in. And you see the likes of course, Rhiannan Iffland and the greats. They've had many competitions under their belt. And in this sport, you have to deal with so many different factors. As we saw, the wind was picking up. Different factors such as the water as well. It depends if you're diving in fresh water or salt water. Sometimes that cold water can be a lot harder, make it a really, really tough impact. And Simone is also pretty lucky to have a fantastic training facility in Montreal and a little Molly Carlson protege along the way. Got a great coaching program, great athletes. What do the judges think?
Well, there's 3 8s up there, a pair of 7.5. So the high and the low are tossed. So 1 7.5 and 1 8 will be thrown out. The remaining 3 you will see right there highlighted in white will be added together, multiplied by the degree of difficulty. So it's 79.9 on that 4th round dive, 231.80 when you add all 4 rounds of diving together. So great job by Simone Leathead, the 20-year-old of Canada. Long way up that tower, Meili Carpenter of the United States. No elevator here, Joey.
No, you get a little bit of a leg burn when you get up there. That's actually a bit of a trick. You've got to make sure you get up there early enough. You don't want to be all puffed out just before you dive. Get up there early, folks. Don't be lazy, you know.
We'll see Carpenter shortly, but right now it's all about Jana Nestsiarava, the 31-year-old independent athlete.
We're off.
We're off, going quickly, and kaboom, right in with a running takeoff.
A running takeoff, yep, that'll help them gain more height and more rotation. She didn't wait, did she? Like, we're like, whoa.
Explain. I mean, if you're a judge, would you get more points for the running takeoff, or how does that help?
No, it doesn't make any real difference. The judges still need to look at the dive based upon 3 parts. The takeoff, it should be nice and strong, not too far away from the platform, not too close to the platform as well, for obvious reasons. The flight, right? You've got to be nice and graceful. Arms above the head here for the takeoff. A little forward, so small deduction there. And with those pike positions, the pike, we see the replay next, should be nice and closed like a pocket knife. Those arms above the head to help throw to generate rotation. Pretty good distance from the platform. Abs working hard, but a little bit too open in the pike, right? You want to see those legs as close to the body as possible. And here we have those fine adjustments at the end. Man, that last part of the dive, Trace, let me tell you, it comes up so fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think you've got it, then sometimes you don't. One of the athletes actually struggled with the lighting conditions between the dark, let's say the cloudy skies and the sunlight from the previous days.
And you don't want to be on the don't side.
Right.
210.50 when you add all 4 rounds together. We are in the 4th and final round for the women. Chinnock is coming up next. Iffland still leads the way, even though she hasn't taken her 4th round dive. That's how the points work. Once again, nearly 15,000 folks have arrived to see the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series final stop. Waitemata Harbour. You see on the left-hand side the degree of difficulty right there, Joey.
So, yep, that will denote the direction. So inwards, standing backwards, rotating in towards the platform. Next time you see those graphics, it'll also show you how many somersaults, how many twists. What do we have? Inward 3 somersaults in the tuck position with a half twist. Now in the wind trace. And folks, the inward takeoffs are the most difficult. Your feet are only half on, half off the platform. She's off.
And not bad. Dropping into the Waitemata Harbour is Meili Chinnock, 21 years old, making her Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series debut.
Meili Chinnock, we're proud of you. So she transferred from the sport of diving over to high diving only a year ago. She's actually part of the Australian national team. She actually had a chance to do the Australian qualifiers for the Paris Olympics, and there was a choice at one point. Hey, do you want to go down the diving path or the cliff diving path? She said, nope, cliff diving is for me. She was absolutely set on that. So she's got fantastic fundamentals behind her, a brilliant 10-meter diver, also comes from a gymnastics background, and it is just remarkable to see how well she's diving only after a year of high diving and only about 3 to 4 training camps. Great stuff, Emily Chinnock.
Yeah, some of the acrobatic fundamentals apply from gymnastics to diving, but when you're 70 feet, 21 meters off the water, it's a big difference. 257.90. She moves into second.
Well done, Emily.
There she is, Rhiannan Iffland, looking pretty chill.
Looking pretty cold, if you ask me.
Chilly and chill. We'll see her dive last in pursuit of her 7th King Kahekili trophy. Meili Carpenter, 36-year-old American, currently ranked number 5 in the World Series points. Another consistent year rolling for the 36-year-old American.
Big degree of difficulty, 4.3. And it's climbing up to that red point on the left. Here we go.
Second highest degree of difficulty in this round and puts it down. Great job by the former NCAA Division I college coach and science teacher.
Now you'll see that water spray there, and quite often you'll see the safety divers splashing the water. Let's break the myth. Let's bust the myth. Guess what? It doesn't make the water any softer at all, not at those heights. So when they splash the water, or they have that spray that you can see there, that helps them see the surface and gauge how they want to adjust for the entry. Reaching the arms up, so doing the 1.5 twists in the first somersault, grabbing onto the pike in the middle, and then coming around for the Barani. What is a Barani? That is a front somersault with a half twist. And of course, they're landing feet first as opposed to head first. Why is that? Well, it's just too damn fast. Okay? Too much to handle. If you were to dive head first, talking some pretty serious wrist or shoulder injuries.
77 on that dive, so 265.50 for Carpenter of the United States. She'll move into the top spot. A lot of big names yet to drop. That's Orlando Duque. Speaking of big names right there, Red Bull cliff diving legend and pioneer. Our new World Series sports director, second year on the job after retiring from competition in 2019. The dude's got 13 world titles. He's dove off everything you can actually imagine. Helicopters, bridges, whatever.
Icebergs.
Icebergs, light posts, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, he's great guy. Thank you, Orlando, for your service and being the sports director and keeping things safe and sound. As we look at Eleanor Smart in the United States, a 28-year-old in her 31st career start on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Her 3rd place finish at the last stop in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina gave her a jump in the rankings from 6th to 4th. And there's Julie. Mama Julie's out there, making her way out.
She's great, isn't she?
Making her way out to Auckland.
The #1 fan.
Yeah.
Good sort of mean barbecue too.
She does, yeah.
Hey?
Smart. You see the heart rate too. That's live heart rate. 54 is her resting heart rate, her current heart rate, as you see, 179. USA's Eleanor Smart. Look at that. We talk about a rip entry, Joey. Julie likes it.
Come on, Mum.
You say she's the biggest fan. She's the biggest fan of
Everyone, all of
there.
Oh, man.
Eleanor Smart doing a great job. She's been diving out of a lot. Speaking of Orlando diving out of a lot of things, she's been diving out of helicopters lately, putting on some really cool stuff on social media. Been fun to watch.
That it has been. So twisting it up here, and as you were saying at the end of the dive, the rip entry, the disappearing act. So disappearing into the harbour. Te Waitemata, the indigenous name for that. So the arms wrapping in to maintain that twist. Watch the arms come out wide to stop the twist, and then enter that next phase. So much has to go right in this sport. It's only around about 2.6, yeah, about 2.7 seconds from that height. So Eleanor Smart, you should be proud of that dive.
Once again, the high and the lower toss. So she'll throw that 8.5 out along with an 8. So she'll keep 3 of those, again, multiplied by the degree of difficulty. So that brings her to a 91.20 on that particular dive, adding all 4 rounds together. 322.80. So Eleanor Smart of the United States now sets the pace in this women's final round. Carlson getting ready to drop in the current world standings. You see Iffland and Carlson behind her. Pennisi, number 3. Smart with that dive. Hopefully she'll hang in there. It's all about Rhiannan Iffland closing out, trying to get number 7, but it's also trying to get a permanent diver spots. For the top 4 after this competition, the top 4 will automatically earn a spot next year and be permanent divers, no questions asked. Here we go. Our next diver, Maria Quintero of Colombia, 23 years old in her 25th career World Series start. 4th appearance this season as a wildcard diver. Putting it down. Whoa, that'll help her out. Trying to get that permanent diver spot, or at least get closer to that. I talk about the 4 divers earning a position next year, Joey, but there's also 4 additional that will be named later depending on a couple other events, including the World Championships and another event that took place.
Yeah, there's a world ranking.
Lauderdale,
that covers all the sports. I absolutely loved how Maria really went after the dive on the takeoff. Looked like on the entry, she felt like she was going fast. Good, strong takeoff. Throwing nice and hard. Grabbing onto the shins. You have to be very careful not to slip out of the dive there. And just watch the arms here. You can see her. She's like, whoa, am I a little bit quick? Arms come up a bit and then back down. So a good little job there, putting on the air brakes. She stayed nice and straight. She knew she was fast, and that was great that she held on. If she broke at the hips, she would have gone over. And by doing that, she gets the dive done.
Pretty good scores there. So an 87 on that dive, and then you add all 4 together. 320.15. So Maria Quintero of Colombia moves into 2nd place after Eleanor Smart. Great job by the psychology student. Canadian Jessica Macaulay in her final stop on the World Series. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the past. We will say goodbye to her competitive career after 6 accomplished seasons on the World Series since her debut, Joey, in 2017. She's been such a great ambassador for the sport.
And just such a graceful diver as well. Here's another 2nd place finish in Azores, Portugal. Love those natural wild locations. Speaking of wild, that was Ireland as well. Another fine performance, but we salute you, Jessica Macaulay. And as I said before, without a doubt, one of the most stylish divers that we've got out the field. Loves a bit of walking across. That's actually, where was that? That was in Beirut, Lebanon.
Yeah.
What a spectacular shot. So definitely nerves of steel.
Hanging things up in her 31st career World Series start. 12 podiums. Family is here. Still waiting her first ever Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series victory. That'd be cool if she scored that today. You never know.
Thank you. Hang the hat. Ding, ding. Yeah, she does want to go with the bang. Big degree of difficulty, 4.0.
Well, cheers to you, Jess. You can call yourself one of the greatest female cliff divers of all time on the World Series, and thank you for your sportsmanship, showmanship, and making a positive impact on the sport of diving and high diving, cliff diving.
One of the best smiles in the business too, huh?
Yeah.
Always smiling. Macaulay will need 7 halves from the judges to move into the lead. She's had some great scores in this dive in the past.
Jessica Macaulay's Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series career. Just take it all in.
A lot of emotion. Imagine that just before your last dive. Putting the heart symbol up, sign of appreciation. It's been a wonderful career. All style, elegance, and all smiles. And that's the incredible point about the sport of cliff diving. Each athlete brings their own unique way of showing off the sport. So the athletes will choose different types of dives. Sometimes they prefer twisting dives, but she loves those rotating dives. Pretty tricky to make sure that you get out of the dive at the right point. The athletes are looking for specific markers to orientate themselves. There is one constant factor, one constant thing that will always be there, and that is the water. And the judges love the dive.
Bunch of 8s. She'll keep 3 of them.
Come here, my little chicken.
96 on that dive. And moves into the lead with a 3:31 flat.
Yes. Go, Jess.
She'll now get into some life coaching as a career after her cliff diving career. So now Macaulay, 3:31 in the top spot. Carlson of Canada is next. We'll see Pennisi and then Rhiannan Iffland. Just joined us. This is the 4th and final round for the women. Stop number 6.
It's a bit dark in here now.
Here in Auckland, New Zealand. Xantheia Pennisi making her way up to the top. But first, we'll see Meili Carlson of Canada, 25-year-old, winner of the last stop in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Number 2 in the points, as we mentioned, behind Iffland. Big degree of difficulty. It's way up there in the red.
So, folks, hardest dive being performed in this 4th and final round for the finale of the series. Running takeoff, front 4 somersaults pike with a half twist. Look at the heart rate. Oof, screaming up there.
53 is her resting. She's at 205 right now.
That's
Or 205. She's 148. Sorry. There you go, Meili Carlson. Only been in the sport just a few years. And trying to end this final stop in Auckland, New Zealand with a podium. Most likely we'll get there. Rhiannan Iffland with the score she has now, it's going to be pretty much impossible for Meili Carlson to win the King Kahekili trophy, but I have a feeling that her name will be etched on that trophy at some time in the near future.
well with a hop, skip, and a jump. Throwing down one of the hardest dives, that quad half by Meili Carlson. So impressive. Once again, that running takeoff really helps them generate more height, more speed and power, using those arms to latch onto the legs. Again, very easy to slip out of the dive, so the athletes will always use the chamois. But we have one big question, and that is, what do the judges think? It's a little bit shorter vertical, meaning that the chin was a little out, so the body was leaning forward on the water, but still a very, very impressive dive. Will she move into the lead? I am not too sure.
90.20 on that. Across the board, moves into second place behind her teammate, Jessica Macaulay, with a 3:28.70. Aidan Heslop, we'll see him dive later, boyfriend of Meili Carlson. And Rhiannan Iffland coming up in 2 after her teammate and fellow countrymate Xantheia Pennisi. So Rhiannan Iffland can take in the moment as she's staring down her 7th consecutive King Kahekili trophy. Beautiful shot of Auckland. You have the Sky Tower in the background, a 328-meter structure. Visitors to enjoy the views of the surrounding areas. Actually see some nearby volcanoes from that spot too. Xantheia Pennisi of Australia, ready to drop from Brisbane. A Incredible season brewing for the 25-year-old Aussie with 3 different third-place finishes, currently number 3 on the overall World Series standings. Joey, rumor is that she has a new dive. Has she done that already? Is this the one?
She actually did do a brand new dive at a training camp in Fort Lauderdale, but she's just choosing to play it safe. But I dare say we will see this particular, well, not this particular dive, but that new dive in the season to come. But to cap things off, she'll stick to the dive that she's done all season. Back triple full. Oh, and a fine entry.
Oh.
It's our little local divers from Brisbane, Australia, supporting Xantheia. They are in awe of her. And what a competition and a great way to cap things off.
So cool for today's final showdown in this area, how it brings a global sporting spectacle directly to the people. The spectators are all fired up, the men coming up shortly. Rhiannan Iffland dropping in next, but Xantheia Pennisi has got to be happy with this dive.
Reaching it up and a reset. And here we go, crushing the entry. Getting that vertical line. And that's how you got to press the judges. Once again, they've got to look at all parts equally and fairly. The takeoff, nice and strong. Now, Xantheia is a really hard-working athlete. She's one of those divers that's very methodical. Takes a lot of care with her nutrition, her strength and training. She's got a specific diving coach to work on the takeoff and high diving experts to make sure she gets the entry right to get scores just like that.
The 5 judges like it. So Pennisi, the celebratory dive back into the harbor. 91.20. And that'll put her into the lead with a 3:37.10. The question is, will it hold and fend off Rhiannan Iffland, who's coming up next? Now, Rhee's looking at her 7th consecutive King Kahekili trophy, but Xantheia Pennisi, if that score can hang, she will win her first ever World Series competition. Final diver ready to drop, Rhiannan Iffland. With 3:37.10, Pennisi leads the charge. And how about Jessica Macaulay in her final competition of her World Series career? Will find a spot on the podium. She could do no worse than 3rd. So again, the World Series points is a reminder. Iffland with that many points, and Carlson with the 990 has locked it in for the 7th consecutive year. So a victory dive in terms of winning the King Kahekili trophy, Joey, but she still wants to win here in Auckland at the final stop.
Absolutely, she does. And so in order for Rhiannan to move ahead of her Australian counterpart, she needs to get 6.5 from the judges, but guess what? What's her average score? 9s from the judges. So the odds are with Rhiannan looking to cap things off on a high.
The great Rhiannan Iffland does it again.
Another ridiculous dive by Rhiannan Iffland. Unbelievable. How does she do it? She never misses a beat.
Is the GOAT of women's cliff diving. Today, her 43rd World Series start, the most of any other female. She's amassed 34 victories. Most likely, you just saw number 35 and the 41st podium, record-breaking. And no doubt will be her 30th consecutive podium. You get my point.
Yeah, I think so. It is just, yeah, incredible. Most wins, 34. Most series wins, most everything. Forget about it. Look at this dive. I mean, everything from start to finish. Superb takeoff. Good distance from the platform. Nice, neat and tidy tuck. Honing in, looking at the water. She knows what to do at the right time. Crushing the entry. with that superb trampolining background. She's had a lot of flight time, landing on her feet.
Wow! Huge scores for Iffland. No surprise, so Rhiannan Iffland not only gets it done in Auckland and wins the final stop, but captures number 7 of her career and will hoist another King Kahekili trophy in the air today.
Unbelievable. And the thing about Rhiannan is that capacity to handle pressure. And she says pressure is a privilege. It's a privilege to be standing on that platform and be on that position. Such a mentally strong athlete. And you need so many things to be a great cliff diver. The mind has to be right, the body, the skill, it all has to come together.
See the water, a little rain coming down as we prepare for the men's competition. Rhiannan Iffland just capped off the women's 4th and final round with not only a victory here at the final stop of the season, but her 7th King Kahekili trophy. Where do you think she keeps those?
Yeah, it's a bit like Gary. I think Gary's got like some trophies.
Gary loses a lot of hit, yeah.
Yeah, he's lost a few in transit, you know, and one of them's like a bit of a key ring. I think he's got a guacamole bowl as well, one of them from Portugal. I'm actually serious.
I know you are.
I'm not joking. He's like, I don't know where all my trophies are. Like, they're just, I mean, he's gone from us getting mad at him. He needs a storage facility. Same with Rhiannan Iffland.
Rhiannan Iffland taking it all in with that 365-point run here. Wins it in Auckland, followed by Xantheia Pennisi. So the Aussies go 1 and 2, and the Canadians go 3 and 4. Congrats to Jessica Macaulay in her final World Series, jumping up on the podium. She has to be stoked.
That's awesome.
As you see the rest of the women rounding out the top 12.
Big relief for Rhiannan Iffland. I mean, there's still pressure on her shoulders. You know, she still would have been very nervous coming into this competition. You of course, want to finish on a positive note, and it's not easy to do that. True sign of a champion, keeping it all together.
And you know more than anybody, Joey. You can't break records. You can't win 7 in a row unless you stay healthy and strong. You can't be out 1 or 2 competitions, and she's done this 7 straight years.
And I think also because she's so consistent with her diving as well, so very seldom that she misses the entry. And if you miss the entry, landing short or over and having a bad entry, that adds the load to the body. But look at this, flying her way down with a beautiful flying reverse, hitting the water perfectly.
And this was the 2nd round, so we're just giving you a recap of all 4 rounds of diving.
Yep. So round 2, so this is the intermediate round. So the first round, nice and easy and simple. Intermediate with intermediate degree of difficulty. And then the last 2 rounds, round 3, you throw down your big tricks. Huge degree of difficulty, 4.3, back triple somersault, 2 twists, and just making it look easy. So all the greats in any sport, doesn't matter if it's tennis, whatever it is, hockey, diving, when they make it look smooth, they are great athletes, but there is nothing easy about this sport. What a beautiful dive to round off the competition, to take the win, and to take the King Kahekili trophy for the 2020-23 season.
She's never been out of the top 5 in 43 events she's competed. Let's send it down to Dave O.C. Let's bring him in, who's with champion Rhiannan Iffland. Dave.
Another, well, a double whammy today. Is it getting any easier out there?
You know, it's actually getting harder. You know, after 7 in a row, fighting until this last event. Coming in here, it takes a lot of guts and a lot of willpower to come out and do a performance like that. But you know, I just have to keep reminding myself how much I love the sport and how much I love the energy in it. And yeah, I'm super stoked to finish it off like that.
It seems like you're driven by passion now. Going forward, does this set a new goal? Is 10 maybe in sight?
Yeah, you know, I guess first is 8. But yeah, let's see. You know, it was a big fight this season. Yeah, I say it at the end of every season. I'm just going to take a step back and see where I'm at and in what direction I want to go. So let's see. But first of all, let's go for 8.
All right, enjoy it. You're a true all-star.
All right, thanks, Dave. Congratulations once again, Rhiannan Iffland, number 7 in a row, winning the World Series and the King Kahekili Trophy.
And as she said, it doesn't get any easier every single time you get on that platform.
She also got the highest scoring dive of the day, so got those extra 10 points, as if she needed the extra 10 points.
I know, right? Just rub it into the wounds of Molly. I just took the extra 2 points as well, 10 points as well. But yeah, fantastic dive there, smooth as silk. I mean, how's that? I mean, basically, just scoring 9s on every single dive. It's very rare that you would ever even see a dive scoring under 8s by Rhiannan Iffland. So consistent. So brilliant. There's that relieving moment as you come out of the water. A lot of nervous energy before you do the dives. That huge sense of relief after the dive. Sense of completion, sense of satisfaction.
Final World Series standings, Rhiannan Iffland, Molly Carlson, Xantheia Pennisi hanging into the top 3, and Eleanor Smart doing a great job ending the World Series in 4th. So there are your 4 that will have a permanent diver position for next season. In the 8 will be named permanent divers at some point. Great event for the ladies in Auckland. Getting set for the men, but first, Joey, body, skill, and mind. 3 key elements of cliff diving. Let's get into that topic as part of your methods of motion.
Yeah, a lot definitely goes into this sport. So today, we'll look into all the elements required to be a great cliff diver, the body, the skills, and the mind, as you said, Trace. So first of all, regarding the body, the athletes need a great deal of strength to withstand that brutal impact at 55 miles per hour or 85 kilometers per hour. In the modern cliff diving era, power and speed is more important than ever to complete the impressive maneuvers. Then we've got to throw in a little bit of flexibility training, so the judges want to see those perfect pike positions in the air. So moving on to the skill section, the takeoff is not only about power, the timing of the movements is crucial. So during the flight phase, the shape of the dive positions should be, let's say, elegant to impress the judges. Now with aerial awareness, knowing where to come out of the somersaults and twists is a huge part of the puzzle. And then comes the entry adjustments at breakneck speed. And from the perspective of the athletes, it's just a blur as you make your way towards the water. But to set the body into action, the mind has to be in the right state. And let's not forget, this is a risky sport, and sometimes things don't go to plan. And this means nerves and self-doubt are a constant factor to deal with. And this is why mental discipline is so important. The brain must be trained to revert to positive thought patterns with the aid of breathing and visualization exercises. And folks, if things weren't already hard enough, the athletes can face some pretty wild conditions, huge waves, big winds. And to sum it all up, you can appreciate how remarkable, brave, and adaptable the cliff diving athletes are in this series. It's just incredible.
Joey Zuber, folks, a Wikipedia of cliff diving. He knows it all. He knows everything.
Thanks, Trace.
Right there. Great job. Love it, though. Seriously. Way to break it down. Okay, similar to the women's story. Rhiannan Iffland and Molly Carlson fighting it out for the World Series title. Rhiannan pulled it off. Same sitch brewing on the men's side. Popovici and Aidan Heslop. Costa needs a 5th or better. Outright. No other scenarios to secure the King Kahekili Trophy. Heslop needs a win. and Costa to come in 8th or worse. Either way, a new man's name will be on the King Kahekili Trophy and join 4 others since the World Series began in 2009. Here's what went down a little bit earlier on the men's side. Popovici in round 1.
Yeah, so round 1, a little bit of a nervous start, I would say. So Costa only getting 6s on this dive. So he was in 10th after round 1 and then 8th after round 2, but he started to claw his way back after round 3. And then also Aidan Heslop really wanted to come out strong for the finale. He led the way after round 1 and second after round 2 and still in a good position in the competition. And that's what he wanted to do, make Constantine a little bit nervous for the finale. So if Aidan wins and if Constantine comes in 8th position, Aidan could win the series. A little unlikely, I would say. But how about this fella?
Wow.
James Lichtenstein.
No one expected this.
Hey, muscles. Let's do the arm stand with a whopping back arm stand. 4.5 somersaults. And guess what? Where is he sitting? After round 3, he is in the lead, shaking things up. Got fantastic aerial awareness, James Lichtenstein. Great trampolinist as well. All-round athlete. Pretty exciting for him to be capping off the competition.
Jonathan Paredes, a growing injury on this particular dive in the 3rd round. And Joe, you've been there, you've done this, legs blowing apart into the water, happens to a lot of divers.
Legs
I mean, it's
blowing apart, literally.
It's not uncommon, but it definitely affected him.
Yeah, pretty common injury. So when you're hitting the water at those speeds, 10 G-forces. So you can see his feet splitting apart a little bit there. Now what happened underneath the water, his legs were pulling apart in the split position. What does that do? It pulls the groin. And I've seen some pretty nasty injuries in the knee as well. So very important to make sure you stay nice and tight, getting cartwheeled off, and hopefully he can recover well. He's got a bit of time to recover before the season starts, 2024.
Jonathan Paredes is a scratch, the 2017 King Kahekili Trophy winner. In reverse order from the lowest scorers after 3 rounds, we'll start things off with Braden Rumpit of New Zealand, followed by Gary Hunt. Never seen Gary Hunt start second in the final round. Usually he's running last. In this case, it'll be Popovici running 10, Heslop. So again, those two battling it out for the King Kahekili Trophy. But James Lichtenstein of the United States, who cannot win the King Kahekili Trophy, can mix it up and probably determine who might.
Exactly.
As Gary Hunt makes his way up, the 10-time King Kahekili Trophy winner, to the top of the platform now, just to reset for the men. That platform, 27 meters, 90 feet off the harbor. We're going way, way up there now. Is Braden Rumpit, the 22-year-old from New Zealand, making his Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series debut. Now representing New Zealand, resides in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, close to that new high dive facility recently built there. And the 100th diver on the tour.
That's an honor.
That's a lot.
Hey. Here we go. Back. 3 somersaults. With 3 twists in the pike position for Braden Rumpit. You can see the dive description on the screen on the left-hand side. 4.6 means the degree of difficulty. And you'll see later on in the rounds, you'll see that little tariff start to really climb up there, especially with the likes of Constantin Popovici and Aidan Heslop. Proud moment representing New Zealand. Here we go, Braden. Rumpit. Love that name.
Oh, you can hear the crowd dropping in from 27 meters, 90 feet. Braden Rumpit in his World Series debut. The guy that works at a kite surfing shop when not launching from 90-foot platforms and cliffs.
Now he's got a great work ethic as well. So the coach in Fort Lauderdale, Steve LeBou, says this guy is an absolute dream to coach. Turns up prepared and ready, wastes no time with his training sessions whatsoever. Comes from a parkour background. He was inspired by some super tramp videos on YouTube. So what is the common theme? Risk-taking. Surprise, surprise, in the sport of cliff diving. So yeah, quite often you'll see a lot of the other athletes who they like to do skydiving and different sports that they give them a thrill.
In the parkour. I mean, this is a little bit softer landings than some of the concrete parkour landings. All right, so Rumpit, once again, there's 5 judges. The high and the lower toss, the remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. So on that, 96.60 to 96.6 will be his final score after 4 rounds of diving have all been added together. And right here is, again, we mentioned Gary Hunt. Over the years, the 39-year-old French diver, the most of all time, 10-time King Kahekili Trophy winner, the most decorated cliff diver, 98th World Cup start, most of anyone, 46 World Series victories, 77 World Series podiums, most of all time. That's why we call him the Moat.
Yeah. And that was Gary's first ever win in Hamburg from the ship called the Richters, and then winning the King Kahekili Trophy for the first time in 2010, and the first ever running takeoff in the history of cliff diving, and a hell of an impact too. You didn't forget that one.
Bring it down. I mean, Gary has been running the tables for a decade and looking like the cards are folded finally for a season here in 2023, but he's still going at it strong. He's aiming for a spot at the Paris Olympics in his own city.
And synchronized 10-meter diving, so the host country usually gets the automatic in. So it looks like if everything goes to plan, he will be competing in the Paris Olympics for 10-meter synchronized diving. What a way to cap off his career. That was his original goal, was to go to the Olympics in diving, then transferred over to cliff diving. Now full circle, coming back to the discipline of diving. Can you imagine that? What a way to finish his illustrious and incredible career.
The guy's great behind the scenes in the athlete prep area. You find him juggling, playing piano. He's great at that. A list of many talents. The 10-time King Kahekili Trophy winner, Gary Hunt, here at the final stop in Auckland for 2023. Gary Hunt, just a little bit of over-rotation on that, coming in heavy.
Well, going out with a splash.
You hear that siren going on in the background?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking that's kind of like, it's not ideal. Well, actually, yeah, the MCs will always tell the spectators, hey, guys, don't yell out in the middle of the dive because you don't want to startle the athlete. I wonder if it did actually affect him because, yeah, there was that, you know, maybe an ambulance siren or a police siren in the middle of his dive, but he doesn't seem to be too perturbed about the dive.
It's one guy that wouldn't be distracted by that.
No, just over-rotating on that particular dive. Kaboom! There we have it. But this was a man who was just way ahead of his game. First ever person in the world to do this particular dive, the triple quad. And it took athletes years and years to catch up to be able to do the same type of dives he's doing. But of course, now he has to hand over the baton to the likes of the youngsters, Aidan Heslop and so forth. But honestly, he really was a trailblazer.
Yeah, and this is the first time since the start of his career in 2009 that he will finish outside of the top 2 after a season. I mean, that's amazing. Here's a guy that has never missed a World Series competition since he began in 2009.
But I dare say he's backing off his cliff diving training at the moment because he's focusing mostly on head-first diving. So he's doing less cliff diving training. So it's kind of understandable that he didn't perform that well. It's a tricky thing to actually try to balance the 2 sports.
Captain Preda getting prepped, warmed up, in the hot tub, and
love across the weekend.
See him later on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please
go back to the top for Nikita Fedotov next, the independent athlete. Once again, the Sky Tower, beautiful background in the skyline of Auckland. See how tall this tower is. This platform, 27 meters, 90 feet. What does he have, Joey?
What does he have? Something pretty difficult versus 3 somersaults with 3 twists. 5.1 degree of difficulty. Very hard to do this dive because he's facing forwards. He'll jump forwards, then he's going to have to rotate back towards the platform. That makes it so heavy in the middle of the dive. You've got to get the takeoff right, and if you don't, you're in trouble.
So Fedotov drops in, Mr. Consistent, never last place, never really first place, always hovers Joey right in the middle range. But his average has labeled him one of the top threats on the World Series, currently number 6 on the World Series points, trying to earn that permanent diver spot for the 2024 season.
Yeah, he's a diver that can always shake things up.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really like about Nikita Fedotov, he's doing dives that no one else is doing. When we first saw him do this dive, we're like, wow, really? You're going to choose to do that dive? He's like, yep. So each athlete, we're just skipping it off a little bit there, not quite getting the jump. You can see his legs starting to pull apart with that centrifugal force. So quite often when you're twisting, the legs want to fly apart. You really have to squeeze the body as tightly as possible, leaving the chin out a little bit of an uppercut. When you leave your chin out, let me tell you, it feels like an uppercut from a heavyweight boxer. You feel every bit of it. Look, he's like, little hand signal like, oh, I'm done. I'm exhausted. You can see those bandages around his right thigh, showing some signs of wear and tear from the season.
Centrifugal force. Joey Zuber throwing that one out again. I love it. 319.20. Fedotov moves into the lead, not to get mistaken by centripetal force or angular velocity. Centrifugal force. All right, here we go. Back to top for Mr. Colturi. 34-year-old American, David Colturi. Chatted with him a couple days ago, told me been struggling with some ankle and calf injuries. Probably typical for many divers, but otherwise he said he's diving pretty well. Dealt with injuries last season, including a right shoulder operation, sidelined him for a majority of the World Series stops. That reflected in his permanent diver spot. So this year comes in as a wild card diver.
Big twisting dive here. Really enjoy watching these dives. So reverse, 2 somersaults, 4 twists in total.
Colturi taking his time on the platform. Not bad. Dave dove for Purdue back in his NCAA days before entering the world of cliff diving.
Oh, Brigado.
One of the most disciplined divers on the World Series, always going 110%.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, guy who enjoys the travel, the culture, takes in everything. He was visiting the museums actually here in Auckland before the event started. Early in the week, break down the dive, Joey.
David Colturi getting the dive done. Pretty good. Slight over rotation. Definitely one of the hardest working divers out there. Huge jump from the platform. You got to like that. Definitely does some pretty high numbers in terms of repetitions. And it does take its toll on the body. And right there, actually, he did actually have a pretty bad shoulder injury. That's a pretty uncommon one. If you leave your arms just a little bit out, you know, that was probably about 1.5 years ago, but just blew his shoulder right out. Ended up having to have a full rotator cuff. Tough stuff.
110.40 for David Colturi. Keep 3/8. Moves into the lead with 3:38.80.
Here we go. DJ?
I get the first.
I get it. It is
great. It is great.
Gets a hug by Molly Carlson. Usually that's by Steve LeBou or Andy Jones back in the day.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the bros with him now, but
I know, those three musketeers, they were hilarious, weren't they? They were great value.
so Colturi with 3:38.80 leads the charge. A lot coming up. Jonathan Paredes, he's a scratch. He's slated to go next. As 15,000 spectators packed into the harbor to see the final stop of the World Series. And we'll move on to Oleksiy Prygorov of Ukraine. The only Olympic medalist to compete on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. He won Olympic bronze in Beijing 2008 in 3-meter springboard synchro.
Some big action here. Back 4 somersaults, 2 twists. Yeah, Oleksiy Prygorov, and he's been on a roller coaster ride. Managed to make the podium for the first time this season. Had a bit of an unfortunate event in Japan. Bit of concussion on his dive, and then got back on the horse. Managed to have some great results in Bosnia. But being an Olympian, he's got fantastic technique when it comes down to the takeoff, his twisting ability. But it's a pretty tall order. Transferring from 3-meter springboard diving, so springboard diving where you have that board that moves up and down, and it's not easy when you go to a fixed surface, so he never did any 10-meter diving, so it did take him some time to adjust for the takeoff. But a very strong athlete, incredibly resilient, knows how to bounce back from adversity.
He'll drop an 8.5 and that 7.5, keep 3 8s across the board. Once again, multiplying those 3 by the degree of difficulty of 5.1, so 122.40. With that high degree of difficulty, Prygorov moves into the top spot, 384.20.
Nice one, Prygorov.
Remember, there's still a battle going on between Constantin Popovici and Aidan Heslop for the World Series title. See Popovici, Heslop, Gimeno after winning the last stop in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina, bumping up to number 3 in the world. Before we continue, David O.C. caught up with Aidan Heslop after round 3. Here's what he had to say.
All right, Aidan, a very familiar position. Now, when we put into perspective the overall World Series, how realistic is it in your eyes at this point with you and Costa so close?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's been that realistic for a while now. Since Bosnia, I've really had a pretty incredible season other than one little hiccup, and I'm super content with what I've done. I mean, yesterday gave me a little bit of hope, but I know that Costa on these big dives really puts it down, so we'll see. I mean, we got one dive left, you know, anything could happen. We'll see who ends up on top.
You said it, anything can happen. Good luck, Aidan.
Thank you.
Pretty tricky conditions.
Heslop coming up shortly, along with that man, Catlin Peretta, as he hikes to the top of the 27-meter, 90-foot tower.
Personifies cliff diving, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks the part.
First, we'll check out Miguel Garcia, 32-year-old Colombian, upgrading from wildcard diver in 2022 to permanent diver in this season of 2023. Currently ranked number 10 in the World Series points. Translation, folks, he needs to brew up a pretty special batch of cliff diving excellence here, Joey, in order to get that permanent diver spot for next season. Great diver.
Yeah, I like that. Little concocting a little brew, get the wooden spoon out, stir it up. Well, here we go. What do we got? Front 3 somersaults with 3.5 twists. Miguel, it's a relatively new dive for him. Also a running takeoff. Very busy dive.
Heads up.
Miguel Garcia, a lot going on, as you said, Joey. A busy dive. I like how you phrased that. Prygorov is like, yep, that probably pull ahead of me. That was a pretty nice dive.
Miguel says that one of the hardest parts about cliff diving is dealing with all the elements. Finds it difficult to manage the wind or the waves. Here, obviously the harbour's relatively calm, but sometimes they're out in those conditions. And you know, Portugal, for example, waves smashing into cliff faces. Oh, there's that triple twist. Legs flying apart. Oh, he was pretty short on that entry. Man, that was definitely a pretty hard hit. He'll feel that. Watch the arms coming above the head here. Just watch the legs here closely. So in the twist, it's like he cut it into the platform bit. The legs just starting to pull apart there.
Whoa.
So a deduction from the judges. And it does slow you down in the dive and makes you feel a bit wonky, I dare say. And then whack, a massive uppercut. Oof, he'll feel that tomorrow.
Born and bred in the same place in Colombia as Orlando Duque, our sports director. He admits he owes his career to the legend for helping and inspiring him over the years. 66.15 on that dive, 3:35.15, so that won't cut it in terms of pulling into the top spot. Nevertheless, on the podium for the time being. Prygorov still in the #1 spot with a 3:84.20. Beautiful shot again of the skyline. Since 2001, this area has held major sporting events such as the Rugby World Cup, the 36th Annual America's Cup, and more recently the Red Bull Fluton, which attracted over 20,000 spectators. As we look at Constantin Popovici, looking to etch his name on the King Kahekili trophy. If he accomplishes that today, he'll be the 5th man in the history of the World Series to do that.
Just a reminder, folks, 27 meters high, 90 feet up here in the Auckland Harbour.
Carlson Peretta, the 32-year-old Romanian, currently ranked #4 on the World Series points, 1 spot ahead of Gary Hunt.
Peretta wants to move into the lead. He's going to need 7.5 from the judges. Let's twist it up.
Oh, beautiful in there. You
Yes.
got to be kidding me.
All style from Carlson Peretta.
Already a guy who, Joey, is known for his aerial awareness, strength, and power, his technical foundation, but putting it into the water like that, slicing and dicing, just backed up everything I just said.
A cliff diving masterpiece. So smooth, so stylish. Look at this, powerful, great takeoff into the twist, holding on strong. And he got the job done oh so well, particularly with the entry. And as always, those fine adjustments at the end are insanely hard to make at those ridiculous speeds. 85 kilometers per hour. I mean, man, this guy makes it look easy. What a beautiful, beautiful dive from Carlson Peretta from Romania. Little slip up in round 3, but he made up for it with that dive. Little fist pump, raw emotion after the dive. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Spectators are getting a show. Look at that, 9.5. Got 2 of those. A pair of 9s. Once again, tossing out the high and the low. Peretta will easily move into the top spot with 142.5 on his 4th dive. Remember, all 4 rounds are added together in this case. Breaks the 400 mark, 411.65. So Carlson Peretta, in his 24th career start, with 2 wins, trying to make it 3, and 13 podiums in his World Series career. Lots of great divers yet to drop in.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Gimeno, Popovici, Heslop, Lichtenstein of the USA sliding in there. What a men's event going on right now. So you see Peretta leading the way, 411.65, and you see the dark blue yet to drop in of Gimeno, Popovici, Heslop, and as I mentioned, James Lichtenstein. The first time the World Series has been hosted by New Zealand, the 29th country to host the World Series. And Constantin Popovici is hoping to be the 5th man to ever win the King Kahekili trophy. He's got to get 5th or better to lock and load with no questions asked, no 10-point scenarios thrown in there. And he's been looking at Carlos Gimeno. What a celebration we saw in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina when he dropped into the river for his first career victory. So much fun to watch that guy with that performance.
And let's step things up a notch. You can see him visualizing the dive, and he needs to do that. Why? Guess how many somersaults he's going to do? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 somersaults.
5.
Okay, 5. Oh, just make it 6 or 7. But this is a dizzy dive. He's got to get that come out. When I say the come out, it means when he kicks out of that tuck position. A tuck position is the ball shape. He's going to go stand backwards, jump up as high as he can.
Throwing a chamois down there, so those new to cliff diving, the chamois.
The chamois to dry off the legs to make sure you don't slip out of a dive. And the last thing you want is to slip out of a back 5 somersaults tuck.
I thought he was just throwing a t-shirt into the crowd.
Oh yeah, some souvenirs, you know, little. Great shot there. Incredible Harbour.
Going on in the air. Ricardo Gimeno,
Wow.
20 weeks ago winning, and Mostar now throwing it down. It seems like he hasn't missed a beat since that victory. Still the top-ranked wildcard diver on the World Series, ranked number 3. Looking good that he'll retain that permanent diver spot. Not retain, he will earn a permanent diver spot for the 2024 season and get out of that wildcard position.
Man, this dive just makes me absolutely dizzy. Watching how he does this, just incredible. He had a couple of slip-ups in Paris, and I was talking to him, and I said, look, you know, what was the difference between Paris and what happened when he won in Mostar? He actually just said, look, spent a bit too much time on social media looking at the phone in the morning, got up, changed his routine in Mostar, walked around the town, had a nice cold swim in the water to reset his body. So getting yourself in the right frame of mind before the competition is really important. So getting yourself into a good competition routine and also focusing on what you need to do. Try not to focus too much on the results ahead of you. Carlos Gimeno should be proud of that dive. Great stuff and a great season by him as well.
124.55 on that dive. Adding all 4 rounds together, 404.15. So moves into second behind Catlin Preda, who has a 411.65. So 3 divers remain in this men's 4th and final round. It'll be Constantin Popovici, Aidan Heslop, followed by James Lichtenstein of the United States. Right there you have Popovici. World Series standings as Aidan Heslop warming up for his dive. We'll see if he pays attention to Constantin Popovici and that score. Not much you can do, but just perform the best dive you can. Can't really change things up.
I think that's the trick in all sports, is really just focusing on the task at hand. Try not to get too far ahead of yourself. Thinking about results, you've just got to focus right here, right now, and right here, right now is Constantin Popovici. And look at the degree of difficulty, almost off the Richter scale, 6.0. Back arm stand, 3.5 somersaults, 3 twists. To move into the lead needs 7s and 7.5s from the judges.
See the fans, the Romanian shark on the banners. Once again, after this dive, if he ends up within the top 5, then he will secure the King Kahekili Trophy for 2023.
He'll be the 5th person to hold the King Kahekili Trophy. Of course, as we said earlier in the show, Gary Hunt has 10 of them. Change of the guards now, doing those last-minute visualizations of the dive. Press into the arm stand now to impress the crowds and the judges.
4th or 5th, he can still be pushed out by the next 2 divers.
It's a big dive here, all on the line. You can see that wind starting to pick up. That's not easy. See a lot of strapping on his knees and groins. A lot of wear and tear during the season. Here we go.
Popovici drops in, and that should do it right there. Constantin Popovici, the Romanian shark, enters this final stop as the current World Series leader. And a top 3 with 2 more remaining after this will give him the King Kahekili trophy. What do you think, Joey? I think it'll move in there.
Absolutely. I mean, he has worked so hard to be in this position. And let's not forget that he's had some pretty serious injuries. He's had a broken foot in the past, also a punctured lung in the previous season, which really set him back. And he probably could have actually won the King Kahekili trophy there if he was able to compete for the rest of the season. So he came into this season absolutely focused and determined to win the King Kahekili trophy. Well done, Constantin Popovici. Muscled through it. Man, that guy works out every single day. He's in fine form, hardworking, and he deserves everything he's got.
I think Heslop knows it. He gets ready to go. 129 on that final dive for Constantin Popovici. Rolls up to a 413.90. First place, and wins the King Kahekili trophy for 2023 with that. Costa, the new boss of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series.
Incredible stuff. Change of guard. Constantin Popovici, you deserve this trophy. Just pointing out some of his Romanian fans.
Fellow Romanian, Catlin Preda, congratulating the Romanian shark. A very small club of King Kahekili trophy winners. 4 others have won that trophy in the past 14-year history of the World Series. Duque, Paredes, Silchenko, and Hunt. And now add Popovici to the name, to the list. Aidan Heslop gave it a good run. He still can win here today in Auckland with that degree of difficulty, 6.2.
The hardest dive in the competition. He's going to run up to the end of the platform, throw with all his might to complete that insane number of somersaults. 4 somersaults, 3.5 twists in the pike position, to be precise.
You know me, Joey, I don't call this a sport or a dive anymore. I just call it a stunt.
Look, honestly, like this dive, when he did it, like no one thought about this dive as being possible. And here we have the new generation pushing the absolute limits. Here we go. 6.2 degree of difficulty.
Whoa, it's just like a tornado hit Auckland. A lot of stuff going on in the air. Love watching the degree of difficulty and the perseverance of that young man throughout the entire season. He had to perform well in Mostar to even have a shot at going up against Constantin Popovici for the King Kahekili trophy. He did just that, but Popovici held out. and locked it in. But congratulations, Aidan Heslop. What a season. We're going to see this guy's name on that King Kahekili trophy at some point.
I dare say, and he's still so young. He's got plenty of time ahead of him. And I know he's that kind of guy. He's always like, what else can I do? He'll want to push the limits, try new dives. He's got a lot of time training in Plymouth in England. And his coaches always encourage play. They're always playing and trying different tricks and new dives. And they would purposely hurl themselves off that 3-meter springboard to disorientate themselves and find their way to the feet. So one of his real attributes is aerial awareness. Coming up a little short on the dive. But what we want to ask right now is, does he have a chance to be on the podium? There's a bit of a miss on the entry. You can see the reaction from the divers.
His girlfriend, Molly Carlson. We ended the season number 2 behind Rhiannan Iffland. Cost a huge relief. Aidan Heslop awaiting his score, 102.30, and moves into 4th with 390. He gave it a good go. He's only in his 19th start, by the way. Aidan Heslop. A lot of room for improvement.
There's not much, is it, when you put it into context?
Yeah.
To perform that well with so few starts.
All right, how about this?
I know, man.
How about this?
I did not predict this. I know he's a great diver, but here we go.
The only American permanent diver on the World Series, in a great position to retain his spot in 2024 as a permanent diver. But no one expected him to come into this 4th and final round as the top seed. It's the first time that he's ever been in this position. And
this is pretty interesting. So for James, he can actually win this competition. So all he's got to do is get 7.5 from the judges. You can see the heart rate up to 148 beats per minute. And that tells you how nervous they are on the platform before the dive. There's been no physical exertion before the takeoff. Look at the heart rate.
The measurement was as low as 50, as high was 195. So right now, as you mentioned, Joey, they're in that range. Now it's moved up to 152.
Okay, we got back 5 somersaults in the tuck position. Big deep breath. Can James Lichtenstein win the competition here in Auckland?
His best result, 3rd place. A lot happening, 5 somersaults. James Lichtenstein with a little bit of a heavy landing, as you like to say, Joey Zuber. But nevertheless, outstanding performance and just being in this position as the top seed coming into the 4th round. That's quite an honor in itself.
James Lichtenstein, you should be proud of yourself. He's a very analytical athlete. He's always breaking things down, you know, figuring out where he should come out of the dive. He's even toyed with the idea of doing back 6 somersaults as well.
I mean, he told me a couple days ago when I texted him when he was in New Zealand, he said he was able to take advantage of the time off, 20 weeks since the last stop, Joe, and he said he switched up his required and intermediate dives. And what did that result in?
Yeah.
Put him into 1st place coming into this round.
He's also doing that because there'll be some slight rule changes coming into the next season, some changes in the degree of difficulty. So some of the athletes are using this competition as a chance to prepare for the up-and-coming season. James Lichtenstein, 5 somersaults. What a way to impress the crowds here in Auckland for the finale.
You know, it doesn't...
Absolute rush after the dive. Big fist pump.
It doesn't take much. One little thing on that entry. It's just like a gymnast having that one, like, after landing, you know,
good
on the
analogy.
horse and taking that one step back opposed to sticking the landing. And that results in a 6th place finish for Lichtenstein, even with the high degree of difficulty and 5 somersaults. But it's all about that man right there. Constantin Popovici. King Kahekili Costa, as I mentioned, the new boss of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Takes the win. Catlin Peretta, how about that? Romania 1 and 2, and Carlos Gimeno with another top 3 finish. So back-to-back for the Spaniard. Aidan Heslop just off the podium in 4th. excellent men's competition, resulting in a new man winning the King Kahekili trophy, and his name is Constantin Popovici. And as we mentioned, you can't win an event without 4 consistent rounds of diving. And Constantin Popovici, the Romanian shark, put together a great routine of 4 different dives here in the first round to kick it off.
Yeah, a little bit nervous, I would have to say, coming into that first round, so underplayed it a little bit. Didn't really get the scores he wanted, coming in 6s there. So I really commend Costa for putting that behind him. Incredible pike position. What an athlete, superb flexibility. And his intermediate round, crushing the entry. What a fine athlete. And when it comes to round 3, the athletes then step up how hard the dives are, stepping up the DD, which means degree of difficulty. So you've got to push the limits. So you've got to do a calculation, risk versus reward. So the more somersaults and twists you do, yes, you get higher degree of difficulty, but you still need those good scores from the judges. And here we have it, the dive that sealed the deal to take the win here in Auckland, and of course, to take the King Kahekili trophy, the 5th man to hold that series title.
All right, the champion today and the new King Kahekili trophy winner is with David O.C.
Costa, you have broken the mold. What is it like to be an official Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series winner?
I mean, it's a great title to win. It was a long battle. You know, we extended the battle till this year, but yeah, it was. I mean, we make it look easy, but it's a very hard work we put, or at least I put every single day. Even the days where you don't feel like it, it's brutal, but you know, we achieve great things. So that's something I can be proud of.
And you were even battling some injuries today. You're all strapped up on your legs. What's going on down there?
Yeah, well, in this situation, I haven't done many dives because I injured myself, and I'm even more proud of myself because I went through this injury and still be able to win. That shows how much, you know, mental strength it's put every day, every single dive, and yeah.
And how does this confidence set you up for 2024?
Well, 2024, it's the season is starting soon, so yeah, it's the battle again. I think things are changing. You know, Gary's not here anymore. You know, other people are showing up with new dives. I think it's going to be an interesting season, but you know, in my case, it's going to be the battle for Olympics as well. So let's see how 2024 will be.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Dave. Costa trying to make that Olympic team for Paris 2024 as well, along with Gary Hunt. So a lot happening outside of the World Series for some of the divers. The highest scoring dive, by the way, was Catlin Peretta in round number 4. This was beautiful.
Look at that, 2 9.5s from the judges, round 4. And with this very dive, he made sure he secured himself a podium finish in 2nd place, right behind his Romanian counterpart, Constantin Popovici. This was just an exquisite dive. I'd have to say, technically speaking, without a doubt, one of the best cliff diving athletes out there. Great form, very smooth, incredibly elegant. And he'll get that extra 10 points towards the World Series for that particular dive.
Final series standings, Popovici, Heslop. What a great season. Those guys going back and forth. Loving seeing Carlson Gimeno up there. A win at the last stop, now a 3rd place at this stop. Puts him in a 3rd overall. And Catlin Peretta. So the top 4 once again will earn permanent diver spots for the 2024 season. Oleksiy Prygorov hanging in there with the rest of the gang. And a great final showdown here in Auckland. In the Wynyard Quarter, in the heart of the city of sails.
What a spectacle it's been for the locals here in Auckland. It's not every day that you see these fine athletes taking the plunge from 27 metres.
Final stop, the prize-giving ceremony, always fun to watch. Check out the women. Celebration will be big tonight for that woman, Jessica Macaulay, in her final Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series event of her career.
What a superb send-off, making the podium for her final competition. Celebrations and parties tonight, no doubt.
Xantheia Pennisi, wonderful season, great momentum. Another podium finish for her.
She has some great little comebacks as well.
Yeah.
A little incident where she did strike the platform with her heels, had to take that competition off, and then came back to get on the podium. Worked so hard. Another deserved, a well-deserved podium. And here we have Rhiannan Iffland taking another historic win.
Record-breaking Rhi right there, number 7 in a row.
A great interview with her, wasn't it? And she just said that it's never easy, though. She still feels pressure every single time she climbs on top of that tower.
Triathlete Hayden Wild on hand to give out the trophies and flowers and all the good stuff. Very accomplished triathlete. Joey, it's been quite a season.
It has been. It's been so competitive as well. We've seen lots of different athletes making the way to the podium. New dives thrown down, huge degree of difficulty. Been one of the most competitive seasons so far.
Carlos Gimeno, the 3rd place finish today.
Had a great start to the season.
Yeah.
2nd place in Boston. That win in Mostar, back on the podium again.
You just tell he's been so confident. Best smile in the business.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
No, he's worked very hard on his mental preparation this season.
Of course, Catlin Peretta, the Romanian's going 1 and 2. Great guy, excellent representative of the sport. So much fun to watch through the entire season. Peretta taking 2nd here at the final stop in Auckland. And there he is, the King Kahekili Trophy winner for 2023, Constantin Popovici.
He has been so focused and determined to win the trophy. Without a doubt, in my opinion, the hardest working athlete in the series. He even works out on Christmas Day. Never takes a day off.
He joins Orlando Duque, Jonathan Paredes, Artem Selchenko, and Gary Hunt in the King Kahekili Club. Only 5 men have won the Covenant Trophy since 2009.
on top of this, Constantin Popovici is also aiming or attempting to try to qualify for the Paris Olympics in men's 10-meter diving. What an all-round athlete. Gentlemen, congratulations.
Presentation of the 2023 King Kahekili trophies. As I mentioned, this area holding major sporting events: Rugby World Cup, America's Cup, Red Bull Flugtag, and now the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Big shout out to the fans and spectators who made their way out today to support the athletes and the event itself. Loud and proud, love it. Familiar sight.
She is a once in 100-year athlete. Raw talent. So skillful.
Record-breaking Rhi wins her 7th King Kahekili trophy. The awesome Aussie diving sensation.
Australian powerhouse has done it again. Rhiannan Iffland, congratulations. A well-deserved victory for the series title.
She makes it look easy, but she once told us, she said, guys, I'm more scared than you think.
Oh, yeah. Actually, if you see her heart rate, yeah, it's definitely one of the highest heart rates before the dives.
Constantin Popovici of Romania getting it done. King Kahekili trophy winner 2023.
Be proud, Constantin Popovici. You deserve that trophy.
Well, the celebration begins and the 2023 season is a wrap. Thank you to our entire crew for an amazing World Series. From the athletes to our entire production team, you are all the best. On behalf of Joey Zuber, David O.C., and all of us from the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon for the start of the official 2024 season. Until then, goodbye from Auckland. Enjoy highlights from the 2023 season. So long.